Sometimes it can feel like the world is pulling us in every direction, that our lives are so busy and that there are so many things fighting for our attention that we forget to look after ourselves. So today I have 10 self-care tips for you. These are things that you can do that cost almost nothing, that are really time efficient, that you can fit into those little pockets of your day to find some time to prioritize your own mental health, making you feel happier and healthier. Tip number 1 is to create a place without clutter. Now, you certainly don't have to be a minimalist like me, but you can still practice what I like to call selective minimalism. So this is just creating a small space in your home that doesn't have much visual clutter. This really helps to calm your mind, and if you're feeling anxious or overwhelmed, it's a place you can go. Now, this tip is particularly good if you live in a home with maximalists and you are more of a minimalist, or perhaps you are just surrounded by visual organizers. So this is a little spot just for you to cut down on that visual noise and enjoy a moment of peace. Number 2 is create a playlist that makes you feel either calmer or brighter. So music is a huge thing for me, and it really helps to set the tone. So if I am feeling really flustered or overwhelmed, I have a go-to calming playlist. Now, the key to making this work is having it done in advance, so that when you're having those feelings of overwhelm, it's really easy to put that playlist on. You can be doing other things, or maybe you just want to sit still and listen to some of those songs that make you feel calmer. Whatever your playlist looks like, it will be perfect for you in that moment. Number 3 has to be one of my favorites, and that is use low light. If you are like me and you get stressed, anxious, and overwhelmed very easily by spaces, this one is going to work so well for you. So when I have those feelings of overwhelm, I'll often just turn the lights down, and that helps me to be able to stop the room from screaming at me. And if you have ever experienced this, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. So I actually often clean my kitchen or mop my floors or have a shower in low light. This just helps me to feel less overwhelmed, and I'm not worried about the little spicks and specks everywhere in a room, because to be honest, I can't see them. So this is a great way of slowing things down, enjoying the process of cleaning or having a shower or whatever you decide to do, whilst taking down that light tone and making it a more peaceful space. Number 4 is phone a friend. Now, if you are an introvert like me, sometimes we forget that it's not just being alone, but also reaching out to others that can help to recharge our batteries and help our mental health. So particularly in today's world where we are battling with lockdowns and isolation, calling a friend is sometimes overlooked. This is a great way to connect with someone, and calling just for the sake of calling, not to organize something, not to talk about something specific, just to catch up, to chat, to get those great lines of communication open, are a great way to not only make yourself feel calmer, but also to connect with others. Number 5 is to drink a warm drink with the 2 hands. The reason I suggest using 2 hands is because it stops you from doing other things. You can't read a book, you can't clean your kitchen if you're using 2 hands to drink. It's just a great way of practicing a moment of mindfulness that doesn't require any preparation, is super frugal, and I promise you, if you can find a few moments of peace doing this every single day, you'll feel better for it. Number 6 is to enjoy enjoy your beauty or skincare routine. Now, this is something that you're probably already doing, putting on makeup or cleansing your face, but by being really intentional about slowing down this process, enjoying wiping off the day's grit and grime, and taking some time to be alone in the quiet is a great way to recenter at the end of the day. I recently watched a vintage beauty video where she used cold cream, and I'd never heard of this before. I don't know if I'm the only one in the world, but I actually purchased some. It was really inexpensive. I think it was like $2 for the entire bottle, but it has made my nighttime routine so much nicer because it is cool to put on at the end of the day. It lifts off all of my makeup really easily without scrubbing half my face off, and it's just a great way to give a little bit back to myself at the end of the day. Number 7 is practice mindfulness. Now, if you have never been exposed to mindfulness before, basically it is just doing or listening to something that puts you back in this moment. The things that I find super helpful are things like coloring or paint by numbers, listening to YouTube videos. There are some great guided meditations. This just really helps if my mind is super overactive, that I can just be focused on something different. So whether it is knitting, crocheting, whatever it is that's going to keep your hands busy and your mind calm, give it a try. Number 8 is to use headphones. This is a great tip for all my mamas out there, all my introverts. This just helps to reduce some of the noise that we have all the time in our lives and helps us to focus on just one thing. So whether it is your favorite playlist coming through, a great podcast, or a YouTube video, I find that putting on headphones is a great way to practice mindfulness, to keep things calm, and to reduce overwhelm. Number 9 is to plan in advance. So what I'm talking about is to plan some times in your week that you can practice some self-care. Whether that is going for a run, taking a class, spending time with your kids, or doing something you love like craft and art. This helps 2 different ways. 1, it makes sure that there's time in your calendar for you, and 2, it gives you something to look forward to. I don't know how many days that I have been overworked, feeling stressed and overwhelmed, and just knowing that I'm going to be able to unwind at the end of the day, do something I love, has helped me to be able to push through and stay calm in the moment. Number 10, and this has to be one of my absolute favorites, and that is grounding. Getting back out into nature and touching the earth. I don't know about you, but I would greatly overcomplicate this in my mind. I would tell myself that I needed to drive to the beach or the mountains, and although that is a wonderful self-care as well, practicing grounding just by walking on the grass in my backyard, looking up at the clouds with my kids, or whatever it is to just feel a moment of nature, touching leaves, smelling flowers, patting your cat or dog. All of these things help us to connect with nature and can make you feel much more at peace.